Hey people, CzarThwomp here, and welcome to episode 69 of Dual Destinies. Last time, we went to the detention center, where we got to see the sheer dysfunctionality between Simon and Aura on full display, in which Aura was begging for Simon to actually open up about just his testimony involving the UR1 incident, but then Simon was like, I don't want to talk about it, and then we learned that Simon's execution date is fast approaching, so Aura, being the black will that she is, decided to essentially take matters into her own hands, become a terrorist, kidnap Trucy, and now Edgeworth is being brought in for damage control. Though speaking of which, one thing I find odd, basically, is how whenever there is a kidnapping case or a hostage scenario in the Ace Attorney universe, Edgeworth is somehow at the forefront and is involved in it. Basically, Turnabout Farewell, where basically just Edgeworth is helping Phoenix rescue Maya from the killer. Then you have Bridge to the Turnabout, in which Iris is locked in the inner temple by Dahlia, and Maya is essentially a prisoner in her own body. Basically, Edgeworth helping out, just subbing in for Phoenix. Then you get Kidnapped Turnabout in Investigations 1, in which basically Edgeworth is leading the charge on the investigation of just, okay, what the heck happened with the whole Lance Amano kidnapping incident / Lance Amano murder scheme. And then basically you get great turnabout in Investigation 2, in which basically Edgeworth finds out that Blaze's minions accidentally kidnapped Sebastian instead of John Marsh. And now we get this, where basically just, where Trucy has been kidnapped by robots that are under the control of his subordinate's older sister, and now basically he's having to do things, but just, really, just Edgeworth, why is it every time there's a kidnapping in the city, I'm always having to lead the charge? Why? What about me screams kidnapping expert? Okay, anyways, we gotta present the badge. It is our sacred duty. It must be nice to finally have your attorney's badge back. Yeah, it's been 8 years. I'm sorry for all I put you through. Yeah, just love how moody Edgeworth is. Basically like, pah, I don't want to see your badge. I don't care about your badge at all. Doesn't remind me of my dead daddy. No, I'm sorry I wasn't able to help you. I'm sorry I wasn't able to assist you in your Machiavellian scheme involving a forged playing card and upheaving our entire justice system for one case. But you have to admit, I did come through with the stacked jury. Yeah, thanks for putting Gumshoe on the jury, Edgeworth, along with Kay and half of your subordinates. Nah, I was the one that made the decision. But now you can stand in court once again. And you can mow them down just like you used to. Well, way to put pressure on a guy. And since when did I get such a brutal reputation? The Orca case, right? The Orca case. Right? Please stop presenting random evidence just to see how the person will react. But that's the thing. I need to see how people will react in order to question them. And what if it's evidence that person isn't privy to? That doesn't happen. Much. You never change. And I'm afraid I'll never understand your assortment of oddball clients either. So, what are you doing here, Edgeworth? The captor chose me as the prosecutor for the UR1 case. Wow, she's good. She went all the way up to the top. Yes, apparently she heard about my reputation for handling kidnapping cases. I gathered all the information I could in the short time that I had. I'll give you a rundown. You're always so well prepared, Prosecutor Edgeworth. Thanks, I appreciate this. Thanks, I appreciate this. I could really use the help. I'll start with a brief overview. The victim was the psychologist Dr. Meta Sykes. Yeah, Athena's mother. 7 years ago, on the 7th of October, her body was found here in this very room. I have 2 crime photos and the police notes on them for you to see. What a terrible way to die. This other photo shows the other side of the room, I see. Yeah, before Aura turned into a hoarder's den. I also have the autopsy report for you, and I made sure to update it right before I got here. Yeah, just really, you'd think that Phoenix would be like, okay, Edgeworth, how updated is this autopsy report. The murder weapon was the victim's own katana found at the scene. Yes, Detective Fulbright mentioned she was into Japanese culture. The body was found by a Space Center staff member and 2 police officers. The police were called in because of the sabotage threat on the Hat 1 launch. Yes, Director Cosmos mentioned this too. A few hours after the body was discovered, a suspect was arrested. The suspect was Simon Blackwell, a young prosecutor. As you could tell, though, despite his appearance now, he actually looked well put together. It didn't look like he was trying to become an edge sona. In fact, I was actually shocked when I saw him just recently. I was like, oh my gosh, Prosecutor Blackwell, what happened to you? 7 years of prison happened to me, Edgeworth summer. Still, what's with your hair? How is it graying more than mine? Have you ever met a boy known as Lance Amano? He tried to rope me into joining his prison gang. Yeah, I could just imagine just Simon's in prison, he's minding his own business, and then Lance Amano just struts up to him. Hello there, my name is Lance Amano. Now, Mr. Blackwell, let me put you straight. You want to join my gang? What? You heard me, I'm forming a gang. Only the biggest and the strongest to protect me. After all, I'm a treasure to the world. So what do you say? Will you help me rule this prison? I'm not joining your gang, you Gerber baby knockoff. Daddy, he won't join our gang. And then Ernest Amano comes in. No. Let's just talk this out. So, Mr. Blackwell, you want to join our gang? I am joining nothing with you! Now, Mr. Blackwell, I drop a Matsubashi, so I know I'm a man of means. Now, you can either join me, or you can make an enemy of me, and I will strike you down. I am leaving! I hear this trial was over in a flash. Yes, a guilty verdict was declared in only 1 session. Apparently, according to the courtroom notes, Athena Sykes really dropped the ball when she took the stand. She absolutely failed it. Not only did he plead guilty, but there was decisive evidence against him too. The security camera video. And a photo of the moment of the crime, as I recall. But did Prosecutor Blackwell have a motive? To this day, his motive is still unknown. He insisted he did it, but he would never say why. So that means he must still be hiding something. Right. And there's another aspect of the case that was never revealed to the public. Yes, I know. The part about the spy, right? Right! How on earth do you know about that? Director Cosmos told me after a bit of pressure. He told me espionage and sabotage were behind the Hat 1 miracle. Don't worry, I won't tell anyone. I've always been good at keeping secrets. Well, I might as well tell you now. They really do suspect Blackwell of being the spy. They think he sabotaged the rocket and killed Dr. Sykes to steal the moon rock. But if you can prove that the Hat 2 bombing is the work of the same spy, we can stay the execution. It's a possibility. That's why I intend to help you any way I can. Yeah, prove Simon innocent, but yet they're still debating on killing him. I mean, he may be innocent of murder, but he does look like an edgelord, and we gotta destroy him before we get a Shadow the Hedgehog style spin-off. Damn it right, we're not going to allow for him to go around walking the streets of LA with a gun, saying, "Where's the damn full of Chaos Emerald?" Thanks, Edgeworth. Now all I have to do is comb this room for evidence. Let's do it together. Yeah, but also just the fact that you're not allowed to leave. I get the whole thing of basically why would Phoenix want to leave, but I can't help but imagine basically Edgeworth being this boss-esque character where basically you enter the room with Edgeworth, you're not allowed to leave until you defeat him. Okay, anyways, let's start examining. Yeah, just the Judgetron bot. Yeah, just Aura building a giant fighting robot. This is one heck of a robot. There's something written on it. Is this supposed to be a poem? I cut down anyone who displeases me. I make the rules. I am the law. Oh my god! Hey, wait a minute! They stole Mystic Maya's catchphrase! That's what she wrote on her Twitter bio. I wield the ultimate gavel of judgment. I am Judgetron, J2O2. I don't believe we need to bother with that, Pearl. It's not even completed yet. He's right, Pearls. There's no sign of it in the photo from 7 years ago either. They were building the Hope space probe here at the time. The murder occurred after the space probe had been removed from the room. So it was long gone by the time someone took the picture, huh?
But you can see the probe in this newspaper photo.
Yes, and you can see the stolen moon rock there too. They had no security board, they just put it on a pedestal, next to the katana. That strange black and yellow thing on the left side of the picture. Note that the same rock is absent from the crime scene photo. Not only that, but before the launch, a very valuable piece of moon rock was stolen. I hear there's lots of research into moon rocks and stardust from asteroids these days. They say the results could potentially have a huge impact on all civilization. It's like we're in a new space race with every other country out there. So the person who stole it, think it was our spy? I'm sure of it. Dr. Sykes was probably killed because she was a roadblock in their plan. Unfortunately, the government thinks Prosecutor Blackwell is the culprit. They think that because of his appearance, he plays by his own rules. He's a loose cannon prosecutor who doesn't play by the rules. It's about as close as my office, but I think it's a workbench.
Mr. Nick, I think this must be a kitchen. Look at this photo. See the cute little food processor?
That isn't a food processor, Pearls. That's the Hope capsule. It was scheduled to be loaded onto the Hope space probe that fateful day. The 3 people who came to collect the capsule discovered the body. The first one on the scene, huh? A staff member and 2 police officers, was it? And they were here to collect the capsule? Which reminds me. So they plan to use this bag to carry the capsule, is that right? Yeah, more or less. Say, why don't we stop talking about this case and have a nice cup of tea instead? Apollo and Aura Blackwell. I wonder what they're talking about. Yeah, what about Phoenix in that flashback? Had to include the tea aspect. You had to tell Edgeworth about the tea. Right, this is important. What kind of tea was she drinking? Edgeworth, did those 3 people have a bag with them for transporting the capsule? Oh, you mean this? It's a custom-made, shock-resistant bag. But how did you know? Oh, I just overheard Apollo making an inquiry about it, that's all. So he's looking into the case from 7 years ago on his own, is he? Okay, let's look around. Okay, I just want to make sure we're not missing anything else here. Okay, nothing there, nothing there. I always try to find all the nuggets of comedy I can determine. What's this? It looks like a giant power plug. It's attached to what looks like an electric vehicle charging station. That's a charging station for us robots. We come here periodically and charge ourselves up. Wow, machines that maintain themselves. That's pretty cool. If our batteries run out and we lose consciousness, we never know what Miss Aura will do to us while we're down, you see. Nothing motivates quite like fear, huh? What's this? A giant robot arm, maybe?
It's very big for an arm, but you're right. I think these thin parts here are finger bones. They're even about as long as my legs.
And there's a spiked ball and a giant drill on the floor, too. Is Aura trying to build some kind of weapon of mass destruction?
Maybe she wants to use it to demolish a big building or something.
I can picture her gleefully tearing down the street doing just that. Yeah, just the fact about the Blackwells. You wrong them and they will kill you and your entire bloodline. Though frankly, I could just imagine the fact that just how Simon and Aura are. Where basically I can imagine Simon and Aura basically just easily just trying to one-up each other in terms of just screwing each other over. Simon puts basically I can easily imagine just Simon draining all the gas in Aura's car and replacing it with salt water, and then basically Aura hacking a government data registry to list Simon as a sex offender. Yeah, but then when you mess with basically when someone outside the family messes with them, then they're out for blood. I better not think about it anymore. Hey, look at this row of rolling cases. I bet the wheels make it easier for people to move heavy research material around.
I bet they'd be fun to ride around in. We could even probably both fit into the biggest one. I know, we could have Rescue Edgeworth push us.
I don't trust him not to push us down a flight of stairs. Right, what kind of man do you take me for? I wouldn't push Pearls down the flight of stairs. But even then, knowing Edgeworth, he wouldn't push Phoenix down a flight of stairs. No. Edgeworth would instead just drop Phoenix off at the airport and just send him off to a foreign country. Phoenix gets out of the case and he finds himself in Borginia. See, this is why you gotta investigate everything. You gotta make sure you're not missing out on any gems. Okay. Next up. Yes, Aura's emergency step ladder. An emergency ladder. This must be the one they used during the evacuation. The explosion disabled the elevators, so I lowered my emergency ladder like the detective leading the evacuation told me to. As Miss Blackwell was climbing down the side of the building, she saw the culprit inside. I wonder which would have been scarier, that or looking down. Okay. Just want to make sure we're not missing anything. Yeah, just scanning anything that seems insignificant. Or his desk is a mess, though that doesn't surprise me.
Oh, I just want to dive in and straighten it up.
Wait, before you do. Metis. Huh? She just glanced over at her desk. Yeah, I thought they were going to focus more on the transceiver. It's Metis Sykes. Clonko, can I talk to you? I really hope he's back to normal. Yeah, though basically I could just imagine that being a CCB radio right on the side of the desk, or just trolling people over CCB. You wish to speak to me, Mr. Wright. If you're going to hit me, please avoid the face area. Do not be as bad as Miss Aura. Hey, don't put me in the same class as that woman! What was Aura like 7 years ago at the time of the incident? When Mother died, Miss Aura was confused. Huh? So he calls Dr. Sykes Mother, but Aura Blackwell Miss Aura. With the loss, she exhibited a severe cataclysmine imbalance.
Excuse me, but I have no idea what that means.
Pardon me, searching for alternative expression. She would spend the nights crying, and then take out her feelings on those around her. After Prosecutor Blackwell was found guilty, she repeatedly demanded a retrial as well. That is correct, but without due evidence, her requests were ignored. And then, little by little, Miss Aura began to change. She started to hate it when I called her Mama Aura. And before long, she started hating the court system and abusing Clonko, huh?
That murder destroyed so many lives.
Oh, you think that Well, in that case, Pearl, allow me to tell you about a little case known as DL6. Yeah, basically, the thing is that just the game acting like UR1 was the destroyer of worlds. But basically, UR1 had an impact in the Apollo Justice section in this section of the series, basically. But frankly, in terms of just overarching effects, I would say that DL6 pound for pound was much more significant, considering the fact that basically it hit Edgeworth, it hit Phoenix, it hit Maya's entire family, and just pretty much just 2 cases. Actually, no. Okay. Yeah, basically we have 4 cases that we can tie directly to that one. Right, take a look at this paper on Dr. Syke and Miss Blackwell's research. Ponko and Glonko, they're the robots with hearts that Dr. Sykes created. A heartbeat detection system lets them determine when a human is present. In addition, they can recognize people by their ID tag or facial features. And they can infer people's emotions by analyzing their tone of voice. That's amazing. Hey, I don't know, Edgeworth. They might be even more human than you. What's that supposed to mean? It kind of sounds like these robots can do what Athena does. Okay, yeah, the desk was just one thing. Oh look, it's a little robot. I wonder what it does. Cleaning maybe? A cleaning robot must follow a human's orders as long as it A cleaning robot must follow a human's... A cleaning robot must follow a human's orders as long as it causes no human harm. Yikes, it talks! A cleaning robot must keep desks clean without violating the preceding clause. However, Miss Aura says she prefers a moderate level of clutter on the desk. What is the purpose of my existence? Yeah, then Aura, your purpose is to not clean my desk. I guess slack off and cut some corners aren't in his vocabulary bank. Yeah, just Aura creating a cleaning robot, just so that way the robot doesn't clean her desk. That is arguably one of the most Blackwell things to do, basically, in terms of just creating a device. It looks like an operating table. It's in the photo too.
Yes, it was here then as well, with the victim's body lying on it. There's a button here. Oh, I know. I'll try pushing it.
Pearls, don't touch that!
Oopsies.
Hey, it's moving!
It appears to be a robot assembly device. Disassemble anything in a flash. Put the dismantle button. That sounds pretty neat. Can I push it, Mr. Nick?
Please don't push any more buttons, Pearls. Well, I guess that's about it for this room.
So, what do you think, right? Any ideas?
There are still a lot of gaps in the evidence, but I'll pull it off somehow, after all. You asked me to prove Blackwell's innocence, right, Edgeworth?
What? He did?
Yep, he called it a special request. He reached out to me while I was still disbarred.
So what was that? So that was what sparked you to get your attorney's badge back?
Yep, the Blackwell case. Though you'd think that Phoenix would just be excited to get his badge back on his own. I mean, basically, why else was Phoenix going after Kristoff? Basically, just what if Edgeworth didn't go to Phoenix with Simon's case? Would Phoenix have just not gotten his badge back? Basically, Phoenix is just like, I'm gonna take you down, Kristoff, and I'm not even gonna benefit from clearing my name. I don't care if my name's cleared. I just want to see you suffer.
Right, I have a special request. I want you to clear one of my subordinates of suspicion.
Hey, I'm not even a lawyer anymore, remember? Haven't been one for a long time.
That 8-year misunderstanding has been cleared up, and you must be eager to return. I'm sure you're familiar with the other case that ushered in the dark age of the law. Very soon a convict will stand as a prosecutor in court. I want you to keep an eye on him. Just when I begin to actually like the job I have now. Right? Your job is barely playing the piano and playing poker in a basement. And mind you got accused of murder when Zachariah decided to do his whole I'm gonna ruin this man's life thing again. Right? I'm sorry I dragged you into this. Because of the espionage aspect, I wasn't free to give you all the details. Hey, no need to apologize. It's like I said on the phone the other day. I know that the type of criminals you're after now aren't small fries anymore. It looks like your target finally decided to make a move. When has Edgeworth ever been after quote-unquote small fry criminals? I mean, when has Edgeworth ever been a first case prosecutor? I mean, basically, the cases Edgeworth has been on, basically, have been pretty high profile as far as we've seen. Where basically, just where first time we see Edgeworth in court, basically. Edgeworth is going after, basically, is basically prosecuting Maya/Phoenix, basically in a case involving Red White. Then basically we have it where just Will Power's case. Will Power was a big celebrity, basically. Then we had it where just Rise from the Ashes, where basically Edgeworth is basically is prosecuting the chief prosecutor. And then basically we also learned that basically Edgeworth took down Dogan, this high-profile assassin. And not to mention just Edgeworth handling cases involving the Burgundian smuggling ring, as well as the
as well as basically the Huang conspiracy, basically with just Blaze, the body double, and Roland, just their whole international scheme. I mean, basically, the only case that we saw, Edgeworth's first case was even supposed to be the Yatagarasu. So basically, just the only case that really stands out of basically just Edgeworth, it being just a low-profile case, was basically just his very first official trial against Mia, in which he was prosecuting Terry Falls. But that was his very first case. I mean, they weren't going to throw Edgeworth into the fire immediately. So basically, just Edgeworth was not this... was pretty much high profile for a good chunk of his career. One of Edgeworth's first big wins was basically the SR9 incident, where basically just he's prosecuting a serial killer, just taking the reins after Neil Marshall was taken down. Yeah, it's for this very reason I returned. Time to bring it to an end. Yeah, Kristoff hears that. He's like, F you, right? I'm gonna end the Dark Age of the Law. That's what this is all about.
The Dark Age of the Law. It sure comes up a lot these days on TV and in the papers. And I hear there are more false charges and fabrication of evidence than ever.
Which is kind of surprising considering that Blaze the Best and Manfred von Karma were running around pre-2016 in the Ace Attorney timeline. We're basically in Gans as well. Basically just doing whatever they were doing. Just Blaze just not even content with basically being corrupt in his own nation. He's basically just he's working with other foreign entities. So basically just... the fact that Blaze even openly admitted to Edgeworth that basically he was doing bum plea bargains, and yet what really causes, and not to mention Manfred, is I'm 40 years of perfection. Basically, that doesn't trigger anyone's suspicions. But yet, what triggers people is just Phoenix getting disbarred on the grounds of using false evidence. Basically, his first time, and also basically Simon's conviction. Basically, I can kind of understand why people would lose faith in the system if Phoenix was found using forged evidence, because basically Phoenix, I could easily imagine him being like a hero of the people. He's honest, he's virtuous. If he's using forged evidence, then everyone's using it. But it's kind of confusing though how in a time when Manfred and Blaze and Gad, all these high-profile law officials, were getting convicted for dirty deeds that were long-standing, just one after the other, 2016 to 2019, basically. Just the straw that breaks the camel's back is basically edgelord anime prosecutor. If your anime prosecutor gets convicted, then what hope does humanity have?
When I became chief prosecutor, the court system had already lost the people's trust. It all began 8 years ago. A lawyer was caught fabricating evidence. All because he couldn't think to himself, maybe I shouldn't use the diary page given to me by a seedy girl. Hey, you leave Trucy out of this. All I'm saying right is you don't use evidence that you're given to by strangers. Didn't your mother ever teach you that? And a year after that, a prosecutor was found guilty of murder.
Wait, did you mean?
That's right. He's talking about my case and Prosecutor Blackwell's. Though I kind of think that there's a bit of a difference between Phoenix, hey, I unwittingly presented forged evidence, versus Simon, I killed a man. Though then again, you would think that, though, also, and Phoenix, meanwhile, like, Phoenix is really helping to improve his reputation when here he is taking Kristoff down with fake evidence, and then just completely revamping the legal system for one case. I mean, we've never seen the jury system in an Ace Attorney in either this game or Spirit of Justice, so for all we know, it just existed for that one case, and then they were like, nah, we won't keep it going, and then they just canceled the jury system and just went back to status quo.
It was a downward spiral after that, an absolute nightmare. After those two cases, the mass media launched an all-out attack on the courts. Public opinion was tainted, and before long, the legal world itself was sucked into it.
It's such a shame. Once suspicion forms, it's very hard to shake. Yeah, so in that regard,
Yeah, so based on that, just it does kind of make sense though that the Mia would really strike onto it, because I could easily imagine Roger Ratin's just watching from the shadows. He's watching from the shadows, and basically he's like, okay, so this guy decided to defend the Gramias. Time for me to destroy some lives. Lawyers and prosecutors were supposed to trust each other, pursue the truth together.
It's so sad when people begin to cast doubt. They start lying to themselves and each other.
Yes, and do absolutely anything to win. We're in an age now where winning is valued far more than the truth. I'm sure it's caused our new chief prosecutor to lose many a night's rest. Joke's on you, right? I haven't slept since 2001. Is it just me, or did his brow get even more furrowed than the last time I saw him? The hostage taker's disdain for the cause is a perfect example of the times. It sure is. Do you have any ideas who the hostage taker might be? Edgeworth, Mr. Logic? Seriously, Edgeworth, what happened to ya? Basically, just Edgeworth is Mr. Now, I can understand Phoenix being a little oblivious to who the hostage taker would be, basically. But you would think that Edgeworth, he gets word that robots have taken hostage at the Space Center, basically. There aren't many people that Edgeworth could pin it down to, basically. Not to mention the fact that the hostage taker explicitly wants justice for Simon. So basically, you would think that the gears would be instant in Edgeworth's head and be like, okay, it's Aura. But then basically, so unless Edgeworth is just trying to play with Phoenix, he should know this right now. I guess Edgeworth, those sleepless nights really did catch up to Edgeworth. Well, somebody who mistrusts the court system and who can manipulate robots. It can really only be Aura Blackwell. Who else but her would want to retrial the case from 7 years ago so badly? Simon Blackwell's older sister and the owner of this room. I agree with your conclusion. Then why'd you ask, Edgeworth? Because I wanted to toy with you, right? Perhaps she intends to force Miss Sykes to confess. Actually, I think she had a much more horrific plan in mind for Athena. But just just speaking of Aura taking Trucy hostage, the fact that basically with how Trucy is, I could easily imagine just Trucy, just not, basically Aura goes in to basically goes in just all smug that she kidnapped Trucy, and then Trucy,
I'm not trapped here with you, you know. You're trapped in here with me.
And then Aura, what are you doing? What are you pulling out of that bag? Where'd you get that chainsaw? And then 20 minutes later,
Daddy, I saved the people. I saved myself and everyone else.
And then just, yeah, and then Edgeworth, oh my gosh, Trucy killed Aura. How do you know, right? We may not be able to identify anything. Her body may have been lacerated and burned to the point of unable to being able to recognize her. But I think that the frozen look of fear on her face, I think that speaks volumes. The important thing is for you to solve the UR1 and prove Blackwell's innocence.
And then maybe she'll release the hostages.
I'm counting on you, right, to set that prosecutor and those hostages free. And I'll be counting on you in court to help me too. Of course, I'll take everything I can to help uncover the truth. As this isn't an official trial, I'm more at liberty to be a little unorthodox. I'm actually willing to collaborate with you for once. I'm willing to tell you more than 3 words of information.
Mr. Wright, are you finished with your investigation?
Yeah, but I'd like you to tell the hostage taker something for me. I have to go to the detention center. I can't start the trial until I've talked to Athena.
She's already given her consent. I'll accompany you to the detention center.
So I'm still being watched, huh? I'll see you in court. I'll see you in court, Edgeworth. Even if it will be an undocumented trial, it'll be good to face you in court again. Yeah, though I can't help but wonder just how Phoenix is transporting Klonko to the detention center. Is Phoenix riding on the public bus with Klonko, just sitting in awkward silence? Is Aura trying to strike up small talk? Okay, but anyways, on that note, I think now would be a good time to end things off. I really appreciate that you stuck around to watch this episode. You're a great viewer, and I hope you come back for the next one. If you like this video, like, subscribe, comment, share, do whatever you want. Without, see you next time. Bye.